cruising tonight. That's their 14th consecutive win in all competitions, which equals a club record. Brian, they are rampant at the moment. Was that as easy as it looked?
Well, obviously the moment of the sending off had a critical influence on how the match went. But in fairness to Besiktas, they did quite well in the game up until that point, until it happened. You see here, they were too casual. They were overconfident. This is Pepe, the centre-half, dribbling out with the ball, surrounded by Bayern players, rather than clearing the ball and doing what the right thing was, instead of trying to dress her up. And they continue to do this. So they win a free kick now, and look what they do. Take a short one, goes back inside to Hudson. He plays a careless one to Vida, and he's out of position. Pepe's out of position. Vida fouls Lewandowski. He knows he's coming. He sees him in the corner of his eye.
No doubts about this one?
No doubt about it. You'll see it. He doesn't make any contact with the ball, the Croatian. He knows himself. Look, jumps across it. Lewandowski throws his right leg back into him anyway, just to make sure the referee gives it. See him there, look. Doesn't make any contact with the ball or nearly get the ball. So that was critical. And this is James Rodriguez, who was taken off and would have been very annoyed. He was taken off when there was no score. I thought he was playing reasonably well, but they needed to get width on the pitch. Were
they not just trying to do the right thing there, Besiktas, trying not to just lump it up the park?
Well, they were getting some joy when they did lump it up the park. We saw in the highlights Wagner Love had a great chance to score when it was 0-0, but it just was the wrong thing in the wrong place, the centre half, when there was a high press on, and they got found out, they got caught out, and they conceded the first goal in a similar fashion. But I think the goal would have came anyway, but they didn't always make the right choices when they were under pressure. It
was pretty much game over after that point by the looks of it, Brian. But you wanted to focus on the role of Kingsley Coman for Bayern tonight.
Yeah, and they survived for a half an hour after the sending off. But he was the man, giving them the width. Young Kingsley Coman had him on loan from Juventus 2 seasons ago, and eventually they bought him. And he was a threat all night. And what I liked about him was there was real variety to his game. He was unpredictable, receiving here from Alaba. Charisma comes across. Not quite sure what he's going to do. Adrian is there as well. He goes on the outside this time, wins the free kick. So defenders are always wondering, where's he going to go? Here you don't see him in the picture yet until he comes in and scores a goal. We see it in the replay. So he's like the modern winger nowadays. Don't play out in the flank. There he is in beside the ref, look, and he's poised and ready to finish.
That's just good instincts there.
Yeah, it's a bit of the Salah about it at the moment, but it's more when he gets it here. Look at his pace and his trickery and directness, and lovely cross. Goalkeeper takes that one quite easy, but there was a succession of brilliant crosses from him in the match. Look, his little pass here to get Alaba in around the back as well. His selection of pass, his decision making was excellent in the match, and he was the one that made a difference when the game was awkward for them. Here you see him again looking up, turns on a bit of pace again, goes by man, hangs her up there for Müller, who just puts her over the bar. Always available, always ready, trying to get that little bit of space. They know they're queuing up there waiting on him. They don't react to his run. That time's that long range shot, he gets the shot away. Here he goes again, waiting. The rest of the players know that a cross will come in. They're not running ahead of it. Picks out, nice ball. Now here's Robin, who's come into the game instead of James Rodriguez and gave them width on the right hand side where they had been struggling in the match. And overall, I just thought, new player, bit different from Ribery and Robin.
Has he played his way into the team now? Not one of the old guard, as it were.
It looks that way, that he'd be first choice ahead of Ribery or Robin as the competition continues.
Yeah, and then the deluge came as you expected it would in the second half.
Yeah, the goals eventually came, and it was the old guys who were involved in it. This one again, you'll see Kerman has involvement in it here, makes a little bit of a burst on the inside this time, checks outside again, cross into the box, and there he looks offside, Müller. Not doing an awful lot in the match, just got 2 goals. You look at his position here, looks offside, but you see the ball when Alaba strikes it. The full-back, Adrian, actually has him onside, and he looks offside there. Adrian,
a very Müller goal, that wasn't
it? Very Müller goal, and the second goal was a bit similar. He's not a centre-forward traditional, he's not a winger, he's not a number 10, he's just a goal scorer. There he snatches another one, cushioned finish, you'd say, and then Lewandowski got in on the act. So here's the width again, provided by Robin, stretching them a little bit, stretching the play a bit. Hummels comes up with a shot, but you'll see on the replay, Lewandowski, see his movement when we see it. from the side view. Watch him there in the centre, ready to go, sees the shot coming in. Defenders are watching the ball. He's saying this could come back off the goalkeeper. Thanks very much. I'll just stick that in the net for my 32nd goal this season on a bad season. So, and then again, you see the width with Robin. Now it's a slow pace and they've given up. Tossage is nowhere. Mueller knows he's on the run to the far post. So they've got these two great sniffers. Tonight didn't tell us how good they are in the middle or how good they are at the back. But they've still got real quality in the front. They certainly do.
Only Messi and Ronaldo have scored more Champions League knockout stage goals than Mueller. You look at the litany of talented players that they have. Are they real contenders for you?
I think they are, because I think the lads have probably alluded to it, that maybe Barcelona aren't at the level they've been at, and certainly Real Madrid aren't at the level they were at in the last 2 seasons. So like the 5 English teams that are still going, I think this situation very much gives Bayern Munich hope. But tonight didn't tell us enough about them. I think the 2 matches with PSG told us a bit more, where they lost one heavily and they won the other one convincingly. So it's still in the balance, but they can go on from here and be confident enough for the quarterfinals, because they'll surely get through.
And Jupp Heynckes knows what he's doing at this level, doesn't he?
He's been along the track before.
He certainly has. I bring you in on this one, Neil. That's what 3 last 16 nights we've had so far, with 3 hammerings in each of the nights. It kind of gives the impression of a 2-tier society in the Champions League at the moment.
Yeah, sometimes look for clubs like, Bâle, Besiktas, who had a great group, by the way. The last 16 maybe can be a glass ceiling. Porto got beaten heavily as well by Liverpool. You look at some of the other, the Real Madrid PSG game, Chelsea, Barca tonight, Spurs, Juve. Not much to choose. 2 more very intriguing games tomorrow night. But yeah, the big teams start to peak at the right times in this competition. The ones who have been over the course and distance before. Munich are certainly in that bracket.
We'll see 4 more tomorrow night. From what you've seen so far of the 3 nights of action, Bayern, one of the contenders, Barcelona, how do you see it?
They have to be, given the form that they're in, Bayern, yeah. Barcelona, I don't know, I just can't see them going on with the side they've got to beat the better sides in this competition. I just don't think it's going to happen for them. I think they'll come close to perhaps hit a semi, but I don't think they're as good as Man City. I don't think they're as good as Bayern. I don't think they're as good as PSG. So I don't think they'll do it. I certainly don't see Chelsea. I don't think Chelsea, out of those sides that we've seen this evening. Bayern have got to be serious contenders. Yeah, they have to be.
In terms of the goal-scoring threat that they have, St. Brian described just go through the names. They're bringing on Robin from the bench. They got Mueller, who people had almost forgotten about. He had a bad season last season, but they seem to have threats from all angles.
It's the home form as well, though, Tom, isn't it? Whoever they play at home at the Allianz Arena, they are a tough side. They're a tough side to play against. So that is where you think, if over a 2-leg, if they're in with a chance going in, whether it's a second leg or the first leg at home, they get a good result and to take away from them, or alternatively a bad result away or a negative result, they can turn it round at home. So I think that's the difference. They've got great home form and great home pedigree, yeah. And it's an incredible turnaround. You're going to be focusing on this game for us. When Heynckes took over, they were 5 points behind Dortmund in the Bundesliga, and they're now 19 points clear. They've won 21 of 23 games. What's he done?
Well, I think he brought back in some of the main men, some of the complainers. Hummels was out of the team at the time, Mueller was out of the team, Robin was in and out of the team. It's become more settled and calm. It's hard to identify why he has made it much more different than Ancelotti, who was a calm guy, hugely respected, a man who had managed the biggest clubs in Europe and had been very successful. But Heynckes seems to have that knack at Bayern Munich. He has a tremendous record, won the Champions League Real Madrid, won the Champions League last time round with Bayern Munich, having lost in that final to Chelsea on penalty kicks, Drogba's late goal to get it to extra time. And then come back the next year and beat Dortmund in the final and finished up. I think he was forced out. Having won the treble that year, he was forced out. But since then, they haven't been able to repeat it. 36 games for club and country this season. Well, as simple as that, get these people on the pitch and playing. He kind of gets overlooked when we're talking about the brilliant players, the most consistent players. We're talking about Ronaldo and Messi, and even tonight about Hazard. But his record in the last 6-7 seasons has been phenomenal. I mean, you mentioned 32. He's 31 domestic football this year. Last season was his worst season. He only got 45 in domestic football last year. Every season for the last 6 seasons, he's got 46, 47 or 50. So he's an all-round centre forward. He can lead the line. He scores all sorts of goals. He get headers. He get right foot, left foot. He doesn't always look like the paciest fella you've ever seen, but he just gets on the end of things wherever the ball arrives in the box and scores goals. So he is the main man consistently for this team. There's been a lot of change around as the wide players of Ribery, Robin, Coleman, Vidal, James Rodriguez is in the team now, but he is the consistent one producing it week in, week out. Massive player for them.
Besiktas must be feeling very sorry for themselves, having topped the group and then drawn Bayern in the last 16. Looking through their team, though, there's experience there, isn't there? Kevin Pepe, Alvaro Negredo, Wagner Love, Quaresma, the Portuguese, Adriano, former Barcelona player, and Ryan Babel.
Yeah, it's almost
Liverpool fans will remember well.
Misfits, I suppose, is what you could say, aren't they? But they've won the 3 Champions League games away this season, and they're solid and difficult to play against. That's the thing. Unbeaten in the Champions League this season as well. So, yeah, as you say, the names that you've mentioned there, they're all enigmatic figures, aren't they? They're all players that on the day, and they produce on the day the level that they can produce. They're quality footballers, but they just don't produce it consistently enough. But they've almost come together and they've started to...
Kevin, might be that they sold Tucson to Everton, who was the main man. He scored 4 goals in the group stages for him. Bringing Wagner Love in, who was a young 33-year-old centre forward, does the stuff for CSK. Can he repeat that? It's doubtful.